Welcome to the Black Entrepreneur Experience podcast. Inside the business, buzz, and brilliance of Black entrepreneurs, here is your host, Dr. Frances Arlene.
Innovative Thinkers episode number 561. Innovative Thinker. Thank you for joining us as we elevate the Black entrepreneur experience by interviewing CEOs, thought leaders, innovative thinkers, and Black entrepreneurs across the globe. I'm your host, Dr. Frances Arlene. Becky Stonebarger isn't just creating spaces, she's creating opportunities for connection. As an owner dedicated to offering affordable options for meetings and social events, Becky is helping individuals, families, and businesses bring people together without breaking the budget. Today, we'll hear how her passion for community, accessibility, and meaningful gatherings is making a real impact. Welcome, Becky.
Thank you for having me, Dr. Frances. I really appreciate it.
I am so grateful that you're here. I've given our audience such a brief bio. Why don't you fill in the gaps and share with our audience what you would like them to know about you and your business?
We are currently 10 years old, a little over 10 years old. We opened in Vegas. We're over near Allegiant Stadium. The idea behind the Beacon Center, which is venue space that I own, is I wanted to offer an hourly affordable meeting space that it was totally equipped with everything that you needed when you walk in the door, and it was not nickeled and dimed to the client. So I created a space starting off with business meetings, like you see the room set up behind me, and offered the space for an affordable hourly rate. One thing grew into the next. I started receiving phone calls. Can I do a baby shower there? Can I do a birthday party? Can I do weddings? And the one that touched me most that continuously came in was celebration of lives. So we've became the go-to person or the go-to venue for the celebration of life, the luncheon afterwards, or those who don't want to do a church type celebration or speakers and eulogies. So they can do that right there in our venue. And so we've grown from there over the last 10 years into being able to offer stress-free packages where the hostess or host can offer. They can take their time working with their loved ones, their guests, their fine details, and we can take care of the decor, the setups, the cleanups, and the personalization that's needed. And we work closely with them. In the case of Celebration of Life, that's our number one as far as our social events that is rented from our space. It's just really hard when people are sitting across the table and they're very emotional and they're trying to come up with how they want to remember their loved ones. I'm very passionate about that and being that safe place and arms for them. But it's tough because you're having to ask some pretty simple questions like their favorite hobbies and things like that during a really emotional time. And it's tough on the family. I've really taken a heart to that. We're disabled veteran. My husband is a disabled veteran. So we're veteran owned, women owned. Like I said, been serving in the community for 10 years now and love being able to give back to the community. Also very active in the Las Vegas, the Vegas Chamber. I'm actually an ambassador for the Vegas Chamber. So I get out there and help connect other business owners in the community as much as I can without anything, no ask in return. I just have a goal to be able to connect at least 3 connections a day, if possible, among people that I know. So just a goal, and I try hard to do.
Becky, let's step back. You have the meeting space for 10 years. Mm-hmm. How did you get into entrepreneurship? Is this your first venture?
Actually, from the time I was 19 when I got married, I did things of network marketing, the Tupperware, the Avon, those type of things to try to be an entrepreneur. But if I go back even farther than that, as a young child, I'd pick flowers out of the garden and then go knocking on doors and selling flowers. I would use the bubblegum machines and find nickels and get prizes out of the bubblegum machine and then put on a backyard carnival for all the neighborhood kids. So entrepreneurship. And then I was raised, my father owned an insurance agency, so he owned his own business. So it was kind of a path that I was set on from a very young age of understanding that I was in charge of my own destiny. And so have to set my goals and work for them. And, but as far as, that's kind of where the entrepreneurship came. As far as the birth of the Beacon Center, I currently even work with clients that are needing business strategy coaching. So I'll work with different companies and giving overcoming different strategies that they have. And I had started a networking group a while back in 2012 that grew and grew, and I needed space. So the Beacon Center became a solution to my own problem. Because I was renting hotel space in order for everybody to meet. Think of any local networking group that you can come up with. I don't want to plug any certain one, but it modeled very similar and on a weekly meeting of business professionals. And so it grew into the Beacon Center. And at one point I was enjoying the Beacon Center so much better. And it was a multiple stream of income that exceeded what my need was at the time. And it kind of phased out where I can now only just take on 5 strategy clients at a time. So kind of pared me down from working with 60 people to working with 5, and then having the center as the extra. And that's my give back, because venue space for meeting space is so expensive. And I have the philosophy that I would rather have it rented and make something versus having it empty and make nothing. And actually lose, because I have, of course, the overhead expenses on every hour that I own the venue. So I price myself I have 2 venues side by side with a connecting door. So one of the venues is just $50 an hour, and the other is $75 an hour with a small setup and cleaning fees on top of that. But 3-hour minimum, so it's really nice and simple. Everything you need for a successful meeting: tablecloths, table chairs, business meetings. We've got everything hook up, 70-inch TV on the wall. It's really walk-in ready.
I want you to have a monologue, Becky, and I want you to name this person, living or not. And they've inspired you so much. Who is that person, and what are you saying to that person?
The person who inspires me the most actually happens to be my best friend, Nancy. She's a divorce and family mediator and owns her own company, Mediation Around the Table. And I go to her for advice and strength and ideas. But, I have a lot of people. As far as famous, probably Princess Diana is somebody who I really, really admired. Her strength, her courage, her tenacity, how she gave back to her community and the world. She's somebody that has always had an impact in what she's doing. And it's been a role model for me. So I would say personal wise would be my best friend, Nancy, and famous wise would be Princess Diana.
And what are you saying to Nancy? She's inspired you. What would you say to Nancy?
There's nothing I can't say. It's a true best friend situation. So there's nothing that I can't say to her. But when I'm down, she has the right words. When I'm up, she's got the right praises. We have good habits of listening to one another, putting the phones away and plugging ourselves into each other and asking questions of each other. And all that inspires me when I'm working with other people, is to be plugged in and present. And she's a beautiful example of that to me, as far as somebody who can just truly engross into the conversation and block out the rest of the clutter that goes on. So I look up to her for that tremendously.
Advice you wish you had followed?
Besides pick a career that would have made me hundreds of dollars an hour, I wish that I would have enjoyed my youth a little bit, my young adult, when I entered in. I got married when I was 19. So a lot of that, seeing the world, traveling, doing the experiences, I went right into having a family, 4 years after I got married. So I wish that I had listened to wait a little bit longer, since I was only 19, wait a little bit longer to have the family, and for my husband and I to do some of the things that being a sandwich generation at this point, it makes it a little bit harder to do those fun things. And then you feel bad that you're just waiting for the time that you can get that time to do it and hope that you're not too old for it. So again, that goes right back into that compassionate side. Why I love doing the celebration of lives is because somebody's not going to be here for very long, but there's a lot of pressures behind it, to the fact that I created actually a workbook that I give away to anybody who wants it. It's a PDF download. Anybody can partner with me and use it for their own marketing, for registrations, and, all those. We're always out there looking for a sign up for this and get a free PDF. So if somebody wants to partner with me and share this legacy workbook, so it's a workbook that can be used for people to write down their memories, who they were named after, childhood memories, their favorite teacher at school. It's a question, a literal workbook, and people are using it in different ways. Partners that I'm working with, hospice cares, they're using it to decrease the number of complaints that they get of nurses that might be sitting on watching television or on their phones. They're using it where it's more, this needs to be done with this patient within a X number of visits. And they're using it for more interactive and letting the healthcare worker fill it out. It's being used by pre-planning. I have a pre-planning sales company that is using it and giving out to their clients as part of their pre-planning meeting setup and get this free PDF. So somebody who wants to look at partnering with me and being able to use this free workbook, free resource, just needs to go to my website, thebeaconcenter.com, and then at the back put /partner and partnership. And then they can download the workbook themselves, or they can go directly to the workbook and put in /legacy. So either partnership or legacy will get you there. The legacy is more for the client facing, the link that you would give out to your clients. The partnership is to get yourself set up. We're going to have a directory. There's all kinds of things. We just got the first rollout of the site up last night, so it would be ready for this podcast. So it's a work in progress. We're going to be adding a partnership directory to it of people who are actively giving out the link and sharing it and feel the same way about being compassionate and leaving people being able to leave their legacy behind. We want to partner with as many people. So go into that, thebeaconcenter.com /partnership. We'll start the process. We'll be able to collect your contact info to put onto the directory, giving you SEO and backlinks, keywords, all that kind of stuff. So it'll also be a one-stop directory for those who you serve to be able to go and look for other reputable vendors that are vetted and they can feel trusted in selecting them. So it'll have a directory available also to end users, the seniors, or doesn't even have to be senior.
What problem exists in the world today that you'd like to solve, Becky?
I think right now, I would like to see more people acting based on kindness and treat people like you want to be treated yourself. I think that we've maybe backslid on our focus on kindness. And I'd really like to see more kindness in the world and collaboration, people working together instead of against each other.
Absolutely. Someone's listening to this podcast interview. What do you want their biggest takeaway to be from your being on the podcast?
My biggest takeaway is that, especially if you're a small business and you're trying to develop something, against all odds, you have to have you keep that tenacity, circle yourself with people that are like-minded, people that can help you achieve your goals, like a best friend who's going to encourage you. There's the saying that you are like the 5 people you spend the most time with. So circle yourself with those kind of people. My biggest takeaway and my biggest offering that I feel that I contribute to my community is collaboration opportunities. I'm always looking to connect people, to help people out, to share experiences, and to listen to their experiences and grow, because it doesn't matter how old we get, we're still always learning. So sticking it out through I've since opening my business, I've gone through cancer, I've gone through several major surgeries where didn't know the light at the end of the tunnel, and just staying determined. And mostly, I put a lot of faith in my God. That's my end all be all is being on my knees in prayer and not forgetting that portion of it.
What is something that we as consumers don't know about the event rental space business that we should know?
Okay, I'll give you a funny one. I can give you two, actually. If you own a venue space, the one thing that really shocked me that I would have never guessed was how many upside down feet prints I would have on my walls to clean off. And the reason being, if you let that sit in for a minute, now I'll tell you, people will lean against a wall and hike their foot up on the wall. Well, somebody has to clean it. That one is probably my number one aha moment of, wow, how many times have I personally done that in my youth and in my growing up of my life? And who the heck cleaned up after me? So that's probably my biggest one. The other one deals with how much hand soap we go through in a men's bathroom. So
I like that.
it's not as much as you would hope.
Becky, there are so many brands and businesses. Talk about a brand or a business that's dominating that you admire and why.
There's a company right now that they're really picking up speed, and I admire what they're doing. And if I was younger, I would so instead I just had to invest in them. It's a company called Boxable. They make little small homes. They pull them up, unfold them, seal them up together, and you have your home. You just provide the foundation and the utilities all ran to it, and it's hooked up, and you have a home in a day. And it's a mini home. But what they're doing, especially here in Las Vegas, the number of factories that they have, I've done a tour over there. They're also a member of the Vegas Chamber, so I've had an opportunity to ride their little go-kart or cart and do a back behind the scenes tour. What they're doing and how they're reaching out with communities. And I think about the homeless communities and things like that our government and our cities could so invest in these small home type solutions. So I really admire what they're doing and the journey that they're doing and the tenacity that it takes for what they're doing. And I hope they're successful. I really hope they're successful. I've been watching them since they started, and we're one of the beginning stock buyers of it. It's been an interesting journey that I've watched. So I would say that would be the company.
Thank you for that. There are so many rewards and risk in business. Talk about one of your most costly lessons in business and what was your takeaway?
My most costly would be not betting. They all call themselves different digital companies, website designers, graphic SEOs, companies that you entrust that they're behind the scenes doing your Google ads, doing that type of back end stuff. In 10 years, I had 9 different web designers. Some produced, some did not. So don't skimp on that just because the person down the street builds websites doesn't mean that they're building ones that Google's going to recognize and it's going to get you the traffic that you need. That's probably one of my biggest, most costly mistakes is not understanding you got to spend money to make money in that area and betting. Some of them I didn't even have a contract. I mean, it was just, learning, growing as you grow as a business owner. Yeah, I learned the value of the service contract.
Yeah.
And the importance of a contract. And I wish that I had learned that a lot earlier in my years. I wouldn't have spent as much money on services with no result.
Let's take a snapshot of the last 30 days. What was your biggest win in the last 30 days?
My biggest win in the last 30 days is launching the Legacy Workbook program. That was a huge goal for me because it's not something that it's going to get me like this ROI right now. It's something that I'm doing for my community. That was probably my largest win is the reception that I have of people who get it and they want to get on board with offering something that is all about leaving legacy behind. The standard of getting some bookings for my venue, those type of things, those are always wins every week, every month, every time that they happen, every day. But I have been able to expand my network over the last 30 days, probably close to 75 to 80 people new that I hadn't met before over the last 30 days, which to me is a huge win because that's 75 to 80 people I can refer somebody else to and make a connection between. That would probably be my biggest for the last 30 days.
And how did you celebrate your wins? How do you celebrate your wins?
I'm not one of those traditional go out to eat or buy sweets and that kind of thing celebrate. I am honestly a quiet time, reflection, get my hair cut, go get for big wins, pamper myself because self-care is something I neglected for several years. And I've paid the price for neglecting the self-care. Just this morning, I went to a flower arranging class at the senior center. Why not? It's something for myself and a beautiful arrangement here at my house that would have cost me hundreds of dollars or more to have on display in my home. And I got to create it myself with my own hands with other seniors and supporting a nonprofit on top of that of the community center. So it's just a whole trickle down of that. But I do a lot of that type of thing is to register to myself for self-care type things.
Speaking of self-care, talk about mental wellness and entrepreneurship.
It takes a balance, and I have to say I'm still working on it. I think we're always working on that balance. There's no magic pill, sadly, but realizing the importance of it. I push, like I said before, I push self-care, mental wellness, all that kind of stuff for the drive for the business. It was the drive of the build or the drive of just achievement. And looking back, I neglected the self-care, and that wasn't doing myself any service. It wasn't teaching me to balance things. It wasn't sending good messages to the family, just the trickle down that you don't think about if you don't create that balance. But finding a way, honestly, getting a therapist, talking to somebody that is licensed in the mental side of things, one of the best things that I did. That was like 18 months ago. I finally said, that's it. I'm getting a therapist who's the one who recommended the flower arranging classes because self-care was the thing that was lacking the most is I was feeling like I was invisible. And there's nothing wrong with getting a professional to talk things out. And to me, it's a day and night difference. And I'm glad that I followed that advice again from a best friend.
And Becky, what inspires you to keep going, to keep doing the business each and every month?
Honestly, it's my clients, the appreciation that I get from them after the event, the wows, I'm so glad I went with you. You had everything under control. There was no red tape. It was easy, stress-free, all those buzzwords that are all over my Google reviews. That is my biggest inspiration is honestly, it's the thank you. That's all I look for. I don't look for anything other than that thank you and the honor of being able to take photos and show off their event to other people to inspire them. In that way that I give back on that is we have a decor room that has every kind of decoration you can think of. Over 10 years, people have just donated their centerpieces and their charger plates and their different decorations that they no longer need or needed to use. At this point, somebody can literally come in, tell me their colors that they want, and we can put together a unique, beautiful event because I've got all that foundation already. And it doesn't nickel and dime them. They're not running out getting boxes to put the greeting cards in or signages or any of that. So that's my give back also to my clients is that compassion. And I even put digital cameras on the tables and let people so people can take photos. Again, legacy, memories. It all circles back to where your core is of the core person that you are is what's going to inspire you in your behavior.
Becky, if you lost everything and you had to rebuild in 30 days, in what industry and why?
Honestly, see, I'm right now very focused on retirement, so I wouldn't rebuild. I would set myself up so that my children do not have to do anything for me. They don't have to take care of me and be my caregiver. That's very important to my husband and I is that we're in a position where we don't have to do that, rely on our kids. I've always said that I would look for to be a brand ambassador for something. I would not set up a company at this point just because of my age. Not to say that I wouldn't inspire other and encourage other people to set up a business, but when I'm encouraging others to set up a business, I encourage them to look at their own passion and find a business that they are passionate about rather than they feel like it's going to make them money, because money is not going to take care of that mental wellness. I myself personally, though, am looking forward to the 5 more years in retirement. But yeah.
And let me ask you this, when you talk about making a difference, what is your purpose? Why are you here?
I feel like I was put here to be a visionary. And to be transparent, I'm high functioning autism, so I'm on the spectrum, I'm neurodivergent. And I think that that is a blessing because to be a good visionary, you have to have a good skill of thinking backwards and going into things from start with the end. And I think that that was my purpose, was to be able to help streamline others that are needing the help to be streamlined or just wishing for advice on streamlining. I'm a very good confidant of, hey, I have this struggle. A lot of people will come to me with their struggles and see if I have some perspective that they hadn't thought of. That's my purpose in life, was why I was put here, was that's why God put me here, was to be a visionary, is to start things up and then pass it on to leaders to carry on.
What was your biggest bet that paid off in life or business for you?
Starting my own business, not having to work the job and under somebody else's rules. And that was a risk. It was a huge risk, quitting the corporate job, doing what you had to do as a mom with young children to start with, babysitting, making, selling the network marketing type things to make ends meet, but then not losing sight of the entrepreneurship in me. And that was the biggest gamble that I did, was opening my own company, signing that lease. I remember the day of signing the lease on my venue space that, I've been there now. I'm getting ready to sign another one. So I've been there 10 years now. That was probably the largest drop in my stomach while I was signing the papers, over and beyond even buying a home or a car. It was just total leap of faith, and inspired simply because the hotel doubled their price on me that I was holding my events on. And I was like, now at this point I can rent my own place. And 6 weeks later we had moved into and had a grand opening of our own venue space. Yeah, that was my biggest leap.
Talk to a younger you. What advice would you give to a younger Becky?
Stick with it. Again, tenacity. Don't worry so much about what other people think, because that will shape you if you try to live to other people's expectations. Don't ignore yourself. That biggest, your own mindset, your own self-care. And I can't mention that enough. Leave a legacy behind of some kind, and love on your family. You only have one. Really, it's more the heart-centered things. I'm very driven by being heart-centered.
What is the toll that your business has taken on your soul?
I would have to put some more thought into that. There's a couple ways of reading that question. Toll in a negative way, obviously, health, not caring for myself. As far as in a positive way, it's been my outreach, my connections with so many people in this community, so many other business owners in this community. And that takes a toll. It's a commitment I network a lot. I attend a lot of networking events and shaking a lot of hands and meeting a lot of people. And it can take a negative toll, but it can also take a wonderful positive toll.
Becky, if you conducted this interview, what is the one question you would have asked yourself? I want you to ask the question and give an answer.
Wow. I've kind of covered most everything as hopes and dreams and where I come from. Probably what sets me apart from other people, just somebody you meet on the street. And honestly, my answer to that is because I care, because I'm compassionate or confidential, trustworthy. I'm always make appointments unless it's some extreme fire. People can trust me. I'm very trustworthy.
What keeps you up at night, if anything?
Again, this is something that goes right back to that self-care, because the more I did self-care, the less I'm kept up at night. Because it used to be things like my bookkeeping's not done, my website has this issue, I need to create this, I need to do that. And it was all business stuff. And so I wasn't able to let my mind wind down. And, now I've created a procedure of hot tub in the evenings and, that type of thing to make sure that I'm relaxing. But keeping me up on night is probably that family, as far as what can I do to keep the family connected, doing my part. Am I doing enough? Am I, making phone calls? I just recently lost my brother. So that's been pretty heavy on me is that connection that this shouldn't be there. That's been weighing on my mind a lot at night. As far as business, I've streamlined now over the 10, 11 years and gotten enough confident service providers for the things like bookkeeping and taxes and that kind of stuff. Best sermon I ever attended at church was when the pastor said, if you can't do it, don't want to do it, don't know how to do it, or you can't do it, you need to hire it. And that was my first bookkeeper, was going out and hiring a bookkeeper. So yeah, it's family, bridging any holes that might be missing, and you don't see them until it's too late sometimes, sadly. And that's where I'm sitting right now. It's important to do that.
And our sincere sympathy for the passing of your brother.
Thank you. Thank you.
We've come to the part of our interview. It's called the Rapid Round of Fun. I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and I'd like you to give me very quick answers. If there's something that you desire not to answer, feel free to say pass. Are you ready for the Rapid Round of Fun?
Okay, let's go.
All right. What was your first job?
McDonald's.
The last movie you saw?
Some cartoon or Disney thing. I'm not sure the name of it. Swapped.
You relax doing what?
Hot tub.
Your favorite singer?
Elton John.
Your favorite dance song?
2 Tickets to Paradise.
What food you eat every week, no matter what?
Fried potatoes and onions.
Your favorite comfort food?
Potato chips.
Your favorite month?
April.
Becky, thank you so much for joining us on Black Entrepreneur Experience Podcast. Before we let you go, share with our audience the best way for them to connect with you, to do business with you. Feel free to leave all your social media handles and any information you want them to know, how to get your legacy book, how to connect with the Beacon Center. Feel free to share.
Okay. First of all, our website, thebeaconcenter.com. And then you can put in /legacy for the workbook, /partnership to become a partner to be able to utilize the legacy workbook. My social media is The Beacon Center on Instagram, LinkedIn, and on Facebook. I'm very big on LinkedIn as Becky.Stonebarger, Stonebarger on LinkedIn. So connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm very big on that. That's the best way to get in touch with me. If you need to call me, email me, any of that, you can go to the website and click on the Contact Us button at the very bottom.
Thank you, Becky. That's a wrap.
Thank you for listening and subscribing to Black Entrepreneur Experience. We would love for you to leave a review and rating on iTunes and share with your friends. For show notes and more episodes, go to www.beepodcast.com. Join us next Wednesday, and remember, green is the new black. So keep your bank accounts and your business in the black.